Hello everybody, how are you going? And welcome to the Big Snit, something that has to be one of the most requested things that I've ever seen in the comments, but also something that I have no idea what it could be about. The title doesn't lead onto it at all. I know who it's coming from, but other than that, it's an animation about something, and so I'm here to find out. Jeez, cutting off. Oh, I love the art style already. Still work. What's he got? Are they her lips or a scarf? They were lips! What? Hang on a second. Well then, so far, what can I say besides this very open-ended, it's been a minute into a 10-minute film and not a single line of dialogue is yet to be uttered, and honestly at that rate I don't know if any dialogue will be uttered. I guess I will have to sit here and wait so to see, but at the same time I have no idea what kind of message they're trying to portray so far, or at least overall. Usually these films do attempt to be communicating some kind of PSA or some kind of politically commentary. I mean, the style is definitely, and I do love the style, but it's definitely in kind of the newspaper cartoonist style, and I can only imagine that would be on purpose, or perhaps it's just of the time. I don't really know. I would love to read down, but I don't want to spoil too much. Does it say? No, I didn't read it too much, but it didn't see any numbers there, but I truly am just waiting in the wings to hopefully eventually get let on to what this entire thing is about. I mean, they've already caught me off guard with the fact that she can remove her eyes and that her lips are her lips, so to say, as I was wondering, is it some kind of a neck warmer or a scarf thing? Because they're huge. I mean, they take up half of her neck and her head, but no, she can then also proceed to remove her eyes. And so, of course, this entire thing is going to be kind of subverting expectation to some degree. At least that's what it's been doing so far, all just around a game of Scrabble. So, like I said, it's really quite, I don't even know what you'd call it, but it's all over the place. Just this very simple scene in a very simple town overall. Actually, it's quite a big city. We're taking in all the context that I possibly feel like I could be so far from the title to what we've seen. I have no idea. Why does she keep going cross-eyed? Whoa! Poor fella. That's... Oh no. What? That's what
Wait a minute!
That's what I'm doing.
It's your turn. Just wait a minute!
All right. You let me know when you're ready, then.
He's never gonna be ready. The poor fella's only got E's, and he's only got a million other sounds and everything else that's distracting him from realizing that he's only got E's. I mean, I don't know what kind of word you can be making in English, especially that only has E's, besides the sound that he probably wants to be making, saying, E! Just get me out of this entire thing, because I'm never going to be winning this game. I mean, I don't think we get to see what else is on the board, but unless it's just a B, or I guess a B and then two E's, maybe you'll be able to get B in multiple ways, but really, there is not many options that you can possibly be having unless it's a B, an M, and that's about it. So no wonder he is going to be in a little bit of a foul mood, because he has absolutely been stitched up here, and I would love to know how many E's are there even in Scrabble, because I feel like there's not that many. Did he have 8, 7? It should be 7 letters. I don't think he had any more or less than the maximum, but to have every single E or every single one as an E, you really will just be getting set off by anything from her shaking her eyes back into focus because she's been sitting there for so long just waiting for him to go, and then the cat going up to the bird, and then the bird making noise. You'd just be trying to focus, like I said, trying to, I don't know, make something a 3 even. I don't know if 3 can be allowed, but at least then you're going to get 3 points, and then you just can't do it because you can't think straight. However, the other thing that kind of caught me off guard and also just took me a couple of seconds to process was the fact that when they eventually did finally say a couple lines of dialogue, it felt so natural that I didn't really pick up on the fact that they had finally said a couple of lines. I mean, it was just general conversation and barely conversation at that, but it was just interjected. Like I said, 2 minutes into the clip, and you finally have even just the slightest amount of any kind of audio track that you go, oh, it just makes sense. You've just been engrossed in the animation so far, and all the other little sounds, the rattling of the dice, that you really didn't notice it. It just had so much room to breathe. And even within all that, I still can't really figure out what the entire thing's about, unless it is just about a Scrabble game and a poor guy that has a lot of ease. I doubt it, because they generally like to go over bigger topics than that, but my goodness, what is it possibly about? The Big Snit has got me on edge.
All right. You let me know when you're ready, then.
What's he gonna do? Oh no. The vacuuming. It's gonna set him off.
What time is it? Well, it's time for... Yes!
What?
And leading our teams in today's youth sawing are our teen sawing leaders from Lord Crayon Correspondence Technical Vocational School, Celso and Joaquin. Is
What?
everybody ready? Okay, teens. Begin to saw!
What's going on here? Hang on. It's taken a segue, and I should have expected it. But how have we suddenly gone from playing Scrabble to soaring? Where did that possibly come from, and who dreamt this up? I mean, to actually animate it is one thing, but to actually write the entire script and plot and overall story is another thing. It's completely ridiculous. What is going on? How am I meant to follow this entire thing? I don't get it. I thought he was just going to be completely set off by the fact that the vacuum cleaner was then going to be going on, and he was just going to be going from the bird making noise to her making noise, and then she finally left, and it was, a bit of peace and quiet. But no, then the vacuum cleaner was just going to be going off. And that didn't happen at all. It just took advantage of the fact that it was, 2 p.m. I believe? Was it 12 or 2? No, it must have been 2. Where was this watch? There it is, a bit of a wonky watch that he's got on there, and I can only presume that it will be right on 2 p.m. and not going to be 10 past 12 when the entire show is going to be starting. And then I'm also a little bit confused because the name of the show was something for teens, soaring for teens, something along those lines. I'm just, via so much osmosis, trying to take everything in, but other things then get pushed out. And I can't imagine that he's a teenager. That's the only thing that I'm wondering about. So is he just being enticed by teenage programming, or is he just, which is fine, he can watch whatever he wants to watch, but it feels like they're then trying to say that he's a teenager, when I didn't previously think he ever was going to be. Not the couch. Not the couch. Oh, not your teeth. Why does he want to soak so bad? What? What is going on here? Why? What's he?
We interrupt this program for an emergency broadcast. Good afternoon. A severe worldwide nuclear war has broken out. Take cover immediately.
What is that as a segue? How is that a possible segue? I mean, of course, it's kind of realistic in terms of it's just general day-to-day people watching TV, vacuuming. I mean, I don't know about vacuuming in the bath, but what? How do you go from him asleep and then all of a sudden, I mean, there's a very clever way to do it, not having that many frames and the animation style permitting, but then to just put up a massive mushroom cloud and a sad face. What? What is going on here? I mean, at least now I have a little bit more context. I can only hope, unless it takes another big segue about what this entire thing will eventually be tackling. But my goodness, that has caught me off guard. Wow, what did he say? A massive worldwide nuclear war has begun. And it looks like he's already been caught in the crossfire of that because, I mean, he's doing well for his condition, so to say, but hey, I don't think he's going to be doing too well for too much longer. Man, I don't know. It's so crazy. This entire thing, to actually put this on TV, and I'd love to know what kind of segment this is actually being broadcast in. Is it its own thing? I mean, it's a 10-minute film, and so to run it commercial free, obviously, to be able to actually get the message across, you're going to be running it commercial free. But if you're going to be doing that, where do you possibly slot this in a time zone? Do you slot it in after hours? Is it actually trying to kind of not subliminally message kids, but is it also trying to just get kids involved as well and trying to communicate an idea of, I guess it's probably now giving me the context, the kind of time period that this was made? Overall, there are so many more questions that I'm sure could just be unpacked by everything that we've seen already. And based on the trajectory of this entire storyline, I can't imagine that it's going to stop now. But if you can answer me the question about when was this entire thing run in a 24-hour time slot? Was it multiple times throughout the day? Was it kind of just the 7:30 on the dot it was run? When was it run? And who was its demographic and who was its audience?
Good afternoon. A severe worldwide nuclear war has broken out. Take cover immediately. Do not remain seated. I repeat, a nuclear war has broken. Take cover. Newspaper or under a refrigerator. Please make sure all cigarettes are extinguished.
What? What? He doesn't know. He won't know. He's not gonna know the news. Everyone got the news,
Well, blow my lips off. Looks like a bunch of people. Must be some sort of... is there some kind of parade on or something?
Some sort of parade on. Oh, I mean, it definitely highlights a flaw in the system of the news delivery system. Just going, well, if you're only broadcasting it via TV means and not via radio means, I mean, of course, these days everyone will be getting texts and it'd be a whole nother thing. But the fact that he was asleep, what about all the other 50% of the population that was probably asleep at the same time? Or it looks like it's the middle of the day, so what about people in the offices? What about people at school? What about people out playing sport? I'm sure the message would very quickly spread, and I'm sure those phone calls would be going around like crazy. It would be ridiculous, the amount of all of a sudden just information flying around from people freaking out, and fairly enough. But the fact that these two are just going to be, I can only imagine, living in their own little bubble, just going, oh, is there a parade on or something? I mean, it's a bit of a violent parade. I mean, everyone's running around. Usually a parade has a bit more music, there's a bit more lively action where everyone screaming down, even holding onto the car. I don't know what's going on in half these frames. Got their TV and they're running. I don't know if you'd want to be taking in the TV. It was kind of the bearer of bad news, so you kind of might just want to ditch that thing. If it is true to the end of the world, just get rid of it. I mean, really, don't bother strapping it down. Go hide under your fridge, maybe, or maybe don't. I mean, we only got half the message because was it a dog or a cat? Because there was a cat earlier, but that certainly looked like the dog chewed it, but then it's gone to milk. I don't know. There's just so many questions. And I guess that's probably the entire point of this, that it is severely open to your own imagination almost, which is interesting for a video. Usually, people love books for their ability for you to imagine the entire surrounding world, but usually when you have a video, you don't get to do that. But this just leaves you with so many other questions surrounding everything else going on in this entire universe at the same time. And really, like I said, even the vacuuming in the bath, it's such a random point, but it's stuck in my mind because it's so random. And it leaves me with questions. And it's basically this entire clip is just leaving me with question after question after question. And it's only not even halfway through.
Well, blow my lips off. Looks like a bunch of people. Must be some sort of... is there some kind of parade on or something?
Oh my goodness. Where are they going? What is going on? Don't use... What? Why? Not the poor couch. Oh no, he's gonna get in big trouble for that. Oh
Are you
no.
ready?
Yeah, don't. What are you doing?
Oh, did you look at my letters?
No,
You looked at my letters.
I did not.
You did.
If you think I did, then you're just one of those people who thinks like
You
that.
really disappoint me. You looked at my letters.
Well, thank you very much. I did not. I could have, but I didn't.
Jesus. Truly, I think that these two are probably going to be in one of the best possible situations. If you could just have it all of a sudden just be over and not have all the fear. Like, let's just say it's guaranteed, which it basically is, especially when you see an image like that. If you're just going to have that happening, what's the point of freaking out about it? Really? Like, to what degree? Sure, it's going to be a natural fear response, but to what degree is stressing and fearing for the next however long going to do? There's going to be nothing good for you in that entire circumstance. And so even though these two are probably not going to be in the best circumstance because he did cheat, and for good reason in his own mind, I'm sure, at the same time, I do not want to be seeing what kind of circumstance and what kind of reaction they would possibly be having if they truly did know what was about to be happening in the next 15 or so minutes, whatever it's truly going to be, maybe an hour if you're really lucky, depending on where you are in the world. Especially considering that from everything we've seen so far, he's a little bit thick. From wanting to cut the couch, to looking at the letters, to thinking that it's a parade, meanwhile a car, if I can find it. Look, did the car just go absolutely crazy? The car went absolutely... Well, hang on, I've just noticed there's a saw in the wall, which I did recognize before, but I didn't really question. I went, oh yeah, there's a saw in the wall and there's a cart. But no, why is he sawing up their entire house? Meanwhile, there's cars flying through the sky. When pigs fly, so to say, there is so much that you could just sit here and just go, hang on a second, what's that? Like, once again, why is there a trumpet or a flute or some kind of brass instrument hanging from the ceiling? Is there anything else random in this frame? I don't know. Why is she going to the closet? That's another question. Like I already said, it's crazy. I guess to some degree, it truly does describe the randomness of life, though. You can just have people going about their daily business, just doing random things, going, oh, you know what? I want to vacuum the cupboard right about now. I've been putting it off for ages, and I'm going to do it. Never mind the saw, we'll fix that later. Never mind the random clarinety, fluty thing that's been hanging from the ceiling that I've been attempting to practice for the last little while. No, the clarinet and everything can wait. I will be vacuuming the entire cupboard while I wait for him to figure out all of his letters, which, like I said, you're going to be waiting a very long time. So it truly is just a beautiful depiction showcasing how everyone is living in their own little bubble. From the dog that ate the power cord that is now just trying to nurse its wounds, from the guy that just wants to watch the sawing of the tree trunks and everything on TV that is also trying to play Scrabble and is in two minds about that, to the vacuuming going on. Then meanwhile, the entire household as a whole is in a bubble compared to the rest of the world. Everyone has got their own thing going on, and I believe there is a word for it when you realize that everyone else's lives are as complicated as yours and have their own nuances and intricacies exponentially between every single person. There's a word for that, and it's almost like the inverted of that, where these people are just living such simple lives in their own regards, but they do have their own little just common entities going on at the same time. Meanwhile, the end of the world is just right around the corner. He's got a good position. Not lower.
Who wants gum?
I do not.
Well, you do.
I do not.
You do so.
I'm sorry, but I do not.
You do. I've seen you do it 100 times.
I do not.
Look, would you stop sawing the table?
What? I'm not.
Why do you always saw everything in this house?
Why are you always shaking your eyes?
I don't shake them
Yes,
like I used
you
to.
do. You're always shaking your eyes here.
I can't-
Shaking your eyes there.
I
Shake
can't
it here.
help
Shake
it.
it there. Why don't you go join some stupid shake and rock and roll band?
I don't.
Hey,
Oh.
shake your eyes at me, lady. That's what they say.
I do not.
Even the parrot is in on it. And I would like to know, I'm wondering, is shaking your eyes a meaning for something? I don't, like, is it like rolling your eyes? Is that what it's kind of trying to say? You're meant to be rolling your eyes. You're rolling your eyes at me. You're rolling your eyes at that. Is it? That's the only thing that is even close in my mind. But what else would you be shaking your eyes? I mean, unless it is just the noise and it's just a symbolism for some little thing that you're denying on one regard and someone else is clearly annoyed at on the other regard. And then, of course, at the same time, just utterly denying something that you are doing that also annoys them. You know, why are you always sawing the house? What? I'm not. Meanwhile, he's literally sitting there sawing the table. What are you possibly going to do about it? Everyone is just always going to be focusing on the negative sides of anything, especially when you're already in a negative mindset, because like I said, he's only got ease, and that's basically what set out the end of the world, for him at least. He's not going to know about the end of the world, but realistically it doesn't matter because he is still in a negative mindset, and no matter if it's just the end of the world or this, it's kind of all over for him. His day is ruined regardless. To be fair, on a bit of a side note, I would love to know what that table, that couch, and honestly their entire house is made out of, considering if he is just constantly sawing the entire house and he's barely made any progress besides the wall, that's some tough stuff. Or maybe they just gave up and he is a little bit too thick and she gave him a plastic saw years ago, one of the 2-year-old saws that has teeth but could never do any damage even if he sat there for about 14 hours. He would wear down the saw before anything else, and so maybe that's just what he's got. It kind of looks like it is, and I mean, if he just wants to be sawing, then give him a plastic saw. Don't give him the metal stuff. He wouldn't ruin it. He wouldn't want to be ruining things, and he would just have to go pay for it. He'd probably get his knickers in a knot after that as well.
I do not.
Only ease, brother.
And
Don't
I
even
thought
try.
you wanted to play some Scrabble.
I did. You don't. And stop sawing the table!
I'm not!
You are sawing the table!
I'm not! I'm not!
Goodness. What a butterfly effect. What is possibly going on? Stop soaring stuff, my man! What is his problem with soaring? Expo 1957. Look at that. Look at the two of them just hanging out. I wonder, is 1957 a big year? I don't believe that 1957 is a big year. The biggest year was obviously still to come. But just stepping back for a second, the entire animation truly is just a masterclass, or the story writing about it, just a masterclass into showing the nuances of this entire thing. These people are just butterflying themselves into basically their own end of the world, just going, I thought you wanted to play Scrabble. No, you did. Stop sawing the table. I'm not. All the lines that you can just basically replace words with, and people do go through these experiences every single day all over the world, whether it's sawing a table or alcohol or anything like that. There are plenty of different ways in which this can be interpreted. Shaking your eyes, rolling your eyes, it's all there. But then at the same time, considering we have no outside audio because he shut the windows, and the end of the world is just blocked out. It's out of sight, out of mind, literally. We cannot see it. The rockets are flying around all over the place, with plenty of them to ensure mutual destruction worldwide. It really doesn't matter. The poor dog nearly had the end of its world just come down on its neck with a saw as well, let alone the fact that he nearly ended himself just by whacking the table and getting a couple of Scrabble pieces, probably a couple of those pesky E's stuck in his throat as well, of which he very quickly recovered from, but he still seemingly had a bit of a rough time either digesting them or somehow getting them back up, and we didn't see it. So if nothing else, now I'm just really keen to be seeing how else are they possibly going to be changing this. What other tangent can they be taking? Are they going to not necessarily make it out alive, so to say, but are they going to realize? Are they not going to realize? Is it all going to turn around for the better, for them, for the world, for what? There are so many possible tangents that this entire thing could go down, and I still don't have any idea how it relates to the title, but I'm keen to find out.
Oh, smart. Oh, smart.
Takes it back. What did he do that for? What's saw? What is always sawing? just like that. Wow. It was that easy. It just took him to put down his saw and get up out of his couch or out of his chair and play a little bit of the, forget the name, it's not a xylophone, but regardless, that was all it took. Just a little bit of a, I mean, it was a bit of a weird poke of the nose to start off, and I guess that's just him not knowing how to go out and convey how he feels and trying to reconnect it, of course, but at the same time just really stuffing it up, so to say. Don't be going and poking someone in the nose and literally poking almost fun of them while they're crying. That's not a good first step. At least he did then reconcile and realize that maybe he had an idea, and even the fact that she was then standing directly beside the painting of him holding up the same instrument, and whether he noticed that or not is completely besides the point. But then for us to have that context as to why he does what he does next, and it really can be that simple, just from all the soaring, all the shaking of the eyes, everything like that, they're just butting heads over and over and over again for obviously quite some time. I would like to go back and just try and see this kitchen, see if there was any more saws anywhere. Come on. Show me all these saws. I saw one in the ground, and there surely was more. No, surprisingly there is not more. Just one basically fully made trapdoor right in the doorway. Where he's getting these ideas from, I would love to know. And also, take that show off the air. If this is what it's causing, that show's gotta go. I don't care how it rates. They cannot be promoting sawing your entire house apart. It's just ridiculous. Either way, like I was saying, just for him to be reaching out and just attempting just to reconnect a little bit, and that's all it literally took. Just a little bit of a, not even I would call good instrument playing, just a little bit of playing, just to get a little bit of kindling going, I guess. Just reuniting that bit of a flame or bit of a love heart in the eyes, whatever it may be. It can be that simple, which is crazy. And I guess once again, it just proves how beautifully written this entire storyline has been. From, like I said, the butting heads to this, it was just that easy. But when do they find out that it doesn't all matter? That's what I'm interested in.
Wait, you want to go outside? Is that what you want? What? Say
Fair
what? Okay, there you go. Gee, it's days like this that you don't feel like doing anything.
Come on, let's finish the game.
Just like that. Wow. Story direction and animation by one guy, by Richard Conde. Man, let's just see background music. Oh, well done to all of these people. Voices, 4 voices. Interesting. Inking. I was just trying to figure out when this entire thing was made, and you don't see inking very often, let alone painting as well. Wow, this is not a new thing, so it must just be a Cold War reference, but it almost feels older than that. Is it? Now I feel like I can finally just scroll down and try and find when was it made. Directed by 1985, but set earlier perhaps? I don't know. Whatever it was, it's a beautifully well done, like I said, and it caught me off guard. Somehow after everything we have been through, just this ending, I'll open the door, and at the same split second, look at that, vaporized. Which is kind of true. It would happen. I don't know why the door didn't go. That's some kind of TARDIS door where nothing ever happens to the TARDIS. And I don't blame the dog for wanting to go outside, but at the same time, it kind of didn't matter, did it? Even though Rio never got to go outside wasn't really a thing anymore. And they just then immediately opened the door into what could be a better place. Rio then did get to go outside. Everyone got to live their wildest dreams, and it's certainly not a pleasant thing to be thinking about, this entire animation's overall outside storyline and what it's really discussing. But at the same time, it's also like, wow, it's trying to make it a beautiful ending out of a somewhat devastating series of events. From the fact that they were having troubles and they'd managed to turn around right at the end. I mean, even if they didn't do that, even the little bit of xylophone saved them from a completely different outlook on life, outlook on the door. It would have been completely different if they didn't have that love reunite in their eyes. I'm sure that opening the door wouldn't have proven to be anything like this. It would have been completely different, and then you would have had to live out the rest of your days in whatever that truly would have been, and the rest of your days being all your days is I guess what they're hinting at here. So even though I'm sure that, well, especially with only one watch through, that I'm going to be missing some of the context and maybe some of the references and even some of the tangents won't be explored to the fullest degree, but realistically I feel as though I got the general gist of what they're trying to communicate, and by the same metric it does feel as though it's a little bit open to interpretation, this entire ending. But my interpretation of this entire thing is, if you have any loose ends that you can possibly tie up, you know, not everything is in our control. We see that the end of the world isn't going to be in many of our controls, and that just is what it is, sadly, or better or for worse, whatever you want to be calling it. But if you have anything that is negative in your life that you could possibly change, maybe just do your best to change it before the time to change it runs out, because you never know when that could possibly be.